Okay, so in every season, there's bound to be some breakout stars, guys who were probably decent players before, but you'd never expect them to make such a big jump. One example I can think of recently is Lauri Markkanen. For his first few seasons, he was strictly a role player, and his previous teams never gave him the green light or featured him in the offense as much as the Utah Jazz did. Combined with his off-season improvements, Markkanen shockingly went from an average player to an all-star, a very elite, efficient scorer, and earned Most Improved Player too. In this video, I want to try to find the next guys up, basically the next breakout stars that we won't see coming. Anyway, how's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and without further ado, let's begin. Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is seemingly the perfect candidate for a video like this. For years, he's been playing behind Ja Morant, and he's been the best kept secret in the entire NBA, in my opinion. That is, unless you're a Grizzlies fan, then you probably know how good he is. Jones is the NBA's best backup point guard, and there's a reason why. Back in 2022, the Grizzlies went 20-5 without Ja Morant. People were saying, oh my god, the team is better without Morant, but that's not the case. It's because of Jones. He's a low-key, incredible point guard, even if his raw stats might not show it. In 4 seasons in Memphis, Jones averaged 4.5 assists per game with just 0.8 turnovers. In fact, from 2019 to 2023, he was number 1 in the league in assist-to-turnover ratio. Jones is simply a winning player. The most important thing, though, is that he got traded to the Wizards, a team that's rebuilding. Jones is going to assume the role of starting point guard, and this will be his chance to break out into a star, on a team with no expectations, where he can be a full-time starter for the first time of his career. When you watch Jones play, he's very subtle, yet he's a perfect representation of how a traditional point guard should play. He's under control, he's very calculated in where he goes, and if he sees a good pass, he'll hit you. He sees the game like a coach. And despite not being super athletic or have any flashy handles like most star point guards today, he doesn't need to be like that. I think Jones is perfect for what the Wizards need right now, an unselfish leader who plays the game the right way. And with the Wizards rebuilding, he's the ideal player to develop your young players around. Alperen Şengün. A while back, I made a video about Alperen Şengün. I talked about how the Rockets have been heavily favoring the development of Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, and Jabari Smith. But in reality, Alperen Şengün has shown the most promise as a cornerstone of this franchise. At times, when his game is on, he literally looks like a mini Jokic out there. In fact, if you compare their sophomore season stats, it's quite similar to Jokic. Of course, Şengün's numbers aren't as high because he only has the 4th highest usage rate on his own team, while Jokic, in his 2nd season, already led his team in usage rate. It's not just the numbers though. Şengün has a phenomenal touch around the basket, great court vision. Like many European big men, this is something he grew up practicing and perfecting. In recent years, Jokic has shown that the value of a big man who can pass is very high. They can change the game. Players like Şengün can elevate their entire team. Out of all sophomores during the 2022-23 season, Şengün was 7th in scoring, but his 60% true shooting percentage was the best out of anyone in the top 7. He also secures 15.4% of all rebounds when he's on the court. That's number 1 among all qualified sophomores. His 19.9% assist percentage was 4th. The only guys ahead of him were guards. I feel like whether or not Şengün develops into a star, it depends on if the Rockets can make a bigger effort to make him the focal point. That's gonna determine whether he remains at his current level or he can blossom and make that next jump. At the end of the day, you need more touches if you want to be a star. Austin Reaves. I'm sure we all caught a glimpse of Reaves playing like a potential star, so this won't come as a surprise to anybody. While his 13 points a game for the season was quite modest, in the last month of the season before the playoffs began, Reaves averaged over 18 points a game. But what really stood out was how efficiently he was scoring. For a shooting guard to score this well at such a young age is remarkable. I know some haters might call him a free throw merchant, but drawing fouls is a skill that not many guards have the ability to do. Reaves has already mastered it. I mean, in that final month, he made more free throws than field goals, which is kinda ridiculous. He's getting superstar calls without even being a superstar. Though when the playoffs began, his whistle wasn't as prominent, but he still performed super well as a third option. For the season, Reeves nearly had a +8 net rating differential when he was on the floor versus on the bench. In fact, he was the only role player on the Lakers who played just as well when he was on the court without LeBron James, as evident by his stellar individual offensive rating. This shows that he's perfectly capable of scoring in whatever situation he's put in, and these kind of players are tough to find in today's league. That's why he has the potential to become a bona fide star. The most important thing is the Lakers trust him. LeBron and Davis trust him. When you have the support from your superstar teammates, that gives you all the confidence you need to take your game to the next level. I predict Reeves will have a much higher sustained usage rate and be a consistent 20-point-per-game scorer with an increased role. The Lakers were fortunate enough to get him on a team-friendly contract too. Josh Green. Josh Green is in the unique situation of being on a team with very little depth outside of their two superstars. When this is the case, there's always opportunity amidst the chaos. Green has steadily improved every season since he's been in the league. But this coming season, with no more Reggie Bullock and no more Dorian Finney-Smith, Green is the next guy up. Out of all role players on the Mavs, he's the most likely to cement himself as the third option, and he's got all the intangibles and mindset to do so. It's hard to measure Green's impact with just his box score metrics. The dude is already the team's best defender at 22 years old. He relentlessly competes, constantly runs around screens to chase down his opponents, and he's an excellent on-ball and help defender. Not to mention, this is a contract year for Josh Green. Typically, players play better during this time because they're fighting for a large payday. If Green develops properly, he would be the ultimate glue guy for years to come, similar to what Draymond Green is for the Warriors. The defense is already there, but his upside on offense is still yet to be known. We've seen him drop consecutive 20-point games during the past season. Josh isn't a one-dimensional scorer either. He proved he has the bag, and he's a very smart, high IQ player. It's just a matter of doing it consistently now. The Mavs are dying for some extra guys to step up, and this is Green's moment. Trey Murphy. Most of y'all probably haven't heard of Trey Murphy, but I was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of him towards the end of the regular season. Oh, he was popping off. Murphy had multiple 30-point, 40-point games in the last month of the season. From March till their last game in April, he averaged 20 points a game and hit a ridiculous number of threes. At just 22 years old, he's already a top 10 3-point shooter in the entire league in terms of volume and percentage. Theoretically, the Pelicans did so well in building a young team that fit together nicely. Trey Murphy's skills complement both Ingram and Zion incredibly well, but injuries have been horrible for this franchise. It's actually the reason why Murphy got this opportunity in the first place. With Ingram being out, this was Murphy's only shot to show what he can do with more minutes, and he answered the call. Now he established himself as a permanent piece for the future of this team. Anyway, those were 5 role players who I think could easily break out in the next few seasons. What are your thoughts? Do you see any of these guys becoming stars in the near future? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.